So welcome to the 300 podcast, and today we are joined by the commercial director of GloMotion Studios, Chris Davis. So welcome, Chris.
Thanks for having me.
So GloMotion Studios look to partner with creators and brands to produce long-form quality content. You, similar to 300, are on a new journey for you in your career. You've been at some big brands. You've been at Brain Labs, Copper 90, at the Daily Mail. I think it was last September, was it? What made you jump into the slightly roller coaster world of being part of a founding group of people?
Well, a number of things. I think I spent the majority of my time in the last sort of 10 years at Gleam Futures, where Dom founded Gleam Futures. And we always said we'd like to get back together and do something again. And then I've been working in the influencer world ever since. And just personally, I was feeling a little bit sort of jaded by where everything was. I think I've been doing the same thing for so long. And was kind of starting to think about, okay, what's next? Because this isn't going anywhere. Like, what's happening next? And then started talking to Dom more seriously sort of last year. And he had been working with our other business partner, Simon, on some like really interesting sort of forward-thinking entertainment formats that feature creators. And we were kind of just agreeing on everything, that we felt like the industry as a whole has kind of got to a point where it needs some form of change. And we really believe that it's only going to get bigger, and the future is more going back to almost like its roots, where everything is sort of trenched in entertainment and thinking about the audience first. And so we kind of really believe in this. And so we thought, well, let's do it ourselves. So yeah, that's where we've kind of come from. It sounds quite virtuous, doesn't it? But it's like...
No, again, it's not dissimilar to how 300 came about. You know, it's you come out of these big companies and you realise that the knowledge and equity that you've built up over that time can be of use. And you often probably surprise yourself how much you do know about your space.
Yeah.
So 8 months in, how have those early days been for you and your growth?
I've loved it.
Yeah.
I've loved pretty much every minute of it. I feel like I've learnt more in 8 months than I probably have in the last sort of like 8 years.
Yeah.
Like just in terms of when you work for bigger businesses and big businesses, like there's so many people to do various aspects of what's needed, right? So you would always kind of defer to other people. Oh, if it's marketing, the marketing team do that, or if it's this, someone else does that. Whereas when there's three of you, no, like who's going to do
everything.
it? Right, yeah. Well, I'm doing it, you're doing it, that kind of thing. So, like I'd say like one thing I've always really struggled with is just writing, like communicating through. I feel like I can talk to people, but as soon as you ask me to write an email, I'll procrastinate on it for an hour because I'll be like, does that sound quite right?
Yeah.
But then like having to come up with the language to go onto a website, the first thing was just sort of like, where do I start? Like, how do I do this? A lot of like sort of like Googling, learning, okay, how do you structure like the narrative of a website, that kind of stuff. And that was the first big thing that I'd done that after you do it, you're kind of like, you,
like that.
Yeah, you can do it. Yeah, it's simple. It wasn't simple. And so it's just things like that. You just kind of pick up new things every week and you're like, right, I've never done that before. Okay, let's figure this out. So that's been great.
Yeah.
And it does kind of like you say, it reminds you of what you know and what you can do. And then on the other aspect as well, it's just kind of the narrative of what we do and how we sell it and how we pitch it and how we talk to people. That has really evolved dramatically as well. Like I remember when we first started, like this is why we're coming at it. This is what we're doing, and this is how we explain it. But now, if I think back to what we were saying then to what we're saying now, it's completely different.
Yeah, I remember early days. Someone saying to me, "Is your business will start like this, and very shortly it will end up looking like this." It's like. Those early days, it's all quite utopian, it's all quite dreamy, and then you get into it, it becomes more practical, you refine what the sell is. Yeah. So tell me, GloMotion Studios, where's the name come from, and what's it about, what's the brand mean?
It's one of those things that we've never written down or like really discussed. I think we all know what it is, and this is going to sound very airy-fairy, like we get who we are and what we're trying to do, but I guess never really written it down. But I'd say it's the evolution of entertainment. Like I think now more than ever, like obviously social media has disrupted the TV world and all that kind of stuff, and I'm not going to talk about that because that's been covered to death, but like the way that content is evolving, the way that the creator economy has evolved, where it's not just social media anymore. These guys and girls are expanding far beyond social media now. I was at the Sidemen charity match a few weeks ago, like 90,000 people in Wembley.
Wow.
And it was unbelievable. But that's real life. That's not social media. It's driven by
Yeah.
social media, but it's real life. So GloMotion, we believe like we're kind of in this evolving world. And because of the backgrounds that we have, like Dom and I coming from much more from the creator world, Simon having 25 years experience in TV and digital and like BAFTA nominated, award-winning chap, like we feel like we've got the best of both worlds to be able to kind of have an opinion and a perspective on everything that's coming.
Yeah.
So I'd say from that point of view, I guess it's like people who've got the experience of what's come so far and hopefully have the vision for what is coming.
If you think about your marketing and your push for growth, are you structuring this in a certain way? Is it all hands to deck? Is it kind of headless chicken, or where are you at the moment?
A bit of everything.
Yeah,
I'd say.
I know the feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when we started, LinkedIn was a big thing.
Yeah.
It still is.
I was coming out of, I think your last Brain Labs, wasn't it? The last one.
Yeah.
So you're in this kind of corporate cosseted culture, and you might go on to LinkedIn, but never really used it.
Yeah.
Coming out of it now, I've been surprised at what a vibrant space it is. I'm not a social media user particularly. Now it's become my second or maybe even my first inbox kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's quite a powerful B2B tool.
Oh, very much so.
Yeah.
One thing though that I've picked up on this week, and this has come from another aspect that we're doing from our new business push, sort of brand marketers don't post on there. It's everyone from our side.
Yes. Yeah.
And so I'm starting to feel a little bit like it's an echo chamber.
Yeah.
It's hugely valuable. Don't get me wrong. Like we get sort of a fair amount of leads from it. Particularly Dom. Dom's got a great network.
Yeah.
He's well known in the space. So a lot of people are in Dom's inbox. But I genuinely want to engage with clients. You want to kind of build that relationship that way, right? And I found that the people I'm trying to contact, they're not posting. So I'm like, well, how do I do that?
Yeah.
So then you're just connecting with them, sending a message, and I'd love to chat, or here's some value.
Hope. Yes.
Yeah, hope.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really, that's one thing I'm finding really tough with the platform.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's great. It's free.
I think on that, but it's interesting, isn't it? You don't get many of the big agencies doing a lot.
No.
You don't get many brands. You wonder whether that is a product of they're almost not allowed to, because they're almost, we can say what we like because we're only going to get into trouble with ourselves.
Yeah.
Whereas they're almost not really allowed to, because they're such huge organisms. There's so many people. It's very hard to harness 75,000 people to be brand advocates and expect at not least some of them to mess it up.
Yeah.
What we found that might be of use to you is last week I had 4 meetings and 3 of them were from this.
Yeah.
And they were all big brands and agencies, and none of them commented on LinkedIn. So it may be a space where people go to consume, they just don't necessarily comment. So if you do create your unique asset and you put it there, it will get in front of people. They're just less likely to comment on it.
Yeah.
But out of the 4 meetings, 3 of them cited this.
Did they?
Which I think, okay, that's positive.
Yeah.
You know, because you see the figures, you see the numbers, you're never really sure
doesn't mean
what
anything,
they
does it?
mean. What's an impression? It's in my feed. Okay, an interaction is something.
Yeah.
A video view is a bit more. But it does cast this sort of blanket of, you know, for us, it's always just get the name out there. If it does nothing else, get familiarity of the name.
Yeah.
And even if they know approximately what we do, that's a good start.
Yeah.
So,
And it is that kind of drip feed, isn't it? And I guess
absolutely.
Like, what's the rule that they say in new business? That it takes like 9 touch points before
Yes.
someone engages with you. So
Yeah.
it's like if 3 of those are LinkedIn posts, then
no,
great.
Absolutely.
And I think, like you say, like impressions. You see the impressions, and I'll be honest, I should, but I don't really look at the stats of posts. I just kind of post and see what. And the thing that I like the most is when like people I speak to like friends and whatever. Oh, I've seen your LinkedIn post.
Exactly. You don't know they've seen it.
No,
they haven't
yeah.
commented. They haven't liked. Haven't done anything.
And I always say that to
Yeah.
them. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
thanks for liking it. And they're like, oh yeah, I was going to, but yeah. And don't worry, your posts aren't that shit. And I'm like, oh thanks, yeah, great. You know, that's positive.
Is that the best shit? They aren't that shit.
Yeah.
Yes.
I take that as a win.
Yeah.
I take that as a win from my
Yeah,
mate.
I take that as a win. Absolutely.
But no, I agree with you. But on that point as well, when you look through the likes and stuff, and I can understand why, you know, real content creators get so obsessed with numbers and engagements and stuff. You can see why it happens, because like, as much as I have social media, I don't really use it in the way that other people do. And so like posting on LinkedIn was very alien to me.
Yeah,
but
likewise,
But then you get quite addicted to the likes, don't you? And then you're scrolling through it, who's liked it? But that LinkedIn's a big thing, like I said, because it's free. Our network is helping. Like,
I can imagine between the three of you, you've got a pretty impressive looking network.
It's been great. And, you know, people asking us to take part in events is great. You know, Dom got, you know, a keynote slot at Creator Fest last year, which was great. And like I think it was the most attended talk of the day, which was great.
Okay.
So yeah, being able to talk at events and agencies inviting us in to talk at things has been great. And then it is just network and trying to get those connections back up that maybe we haven't spoken to in a few years. And
for you guys, you're asking for clients to do an investment in ideally long-term quality content. How are you finding these decision-making cycles for you?
When you're selling a product and you're selling this, like something that's pretty new to the industry, you are selling it as the dream, aren't you? You're selling it as it could be this.
I think my analogy was I had some people that came to me, clients that had just learned to drive, and they came to me to buy a new car, and I tried to sell them a Bentley. Yeah. They just wanted a 10-year-old Golf. That's all they wanted. And if they like that Golf, they'll come back to me to get their next car, and maybe one day they'll get the Bentley. Yeah. But they just want a Golf to start with. And it's that, get your foot in the door, show them some great work, and then hopefully out the back of that more will come.
Exactly. And that's what we're trying. I guess we've made this problem ourselves, really, by selling the big dream. Yeah. And now we're trying to make sure that when we are talking to clients, when we're talking to agencies, that we aren't just saying we should be doing a 10-part series on YouTube or Netflix or whatever. Yeah. And it is... But the thing is, we constantly know what's going on. Like on Instagram at the moment, there's this real, well, not just Instagram, TikTok as well. There's this kind of real growth in short form soap operas, or like dramas. So they're like 60-second dramas, and it's as simple as two cameras. So there's one called the Brooklyn Coffee Shop. I don't know if you've seen this.
I haven't, no.
It's grown really quickly recently, and it's two cameras, one on the baristas, one on the customers. Right. So different customers come in every week.
And this is real life, is it? Or is it
it's scripted. Right, okay. It is, but they try and dress it up. And also, I've only just found out that it's not a real coffee shop. But
you believed it.
Exactly. But they've done it as like, it's like real, it's kind of really sending up that kind of hipster culture in Brooklyn. Yeah. But it's like 60-second sort of satire drama type thing. And they've grown from 26,000 followers a few weeks ago. They're now like 85,000, like in 2 weeks. So they're growing really quickly. And then in Asia and in China, they've got this thing called C-drama, which is, again, short form dramas, but they're like love stories. And it's like really over the top production, like lots of weird fade outs and fade ins and cuts. And, but they have exploded in China. Like these 60-second clips are getting millions and millions of views. Wow. And so it's like Home and Away. But, you know,
in 60 seconds.
Yeah, in 60-second form. And so this is the thing that we're saying to brands now, look, it doesn't have to be, you know, a 10-part series. It can be an Instagram series that we could do for X amount. We're talking about it from a brand IP point of view, trying to get brands to think differently, because social media has democratized content now. Brands can create their own IP. They don't have to go and sponsor a Love Island. Yeah. They can go and create that. Oh, right. I mean, Love Island is obviously a phenomenon, but like they can go in theory and create their own Love Island. Yeah. But it doesn't have to start at the top. It can start somewhere small.
Because getting people to engage nowadays in these long form things is just more and more difficult, isn't it?
Yeah. So we have a distribution model with what we do as well.
Right.
And a distribution model is all about how can you hook people in to draw them towards the longer form
Yes.
content at the
which
heart
is
of it.
what this is meant to do,
Exactly.
ideally, yeah.
And you think about it like a film studio. The way that we always refer to ourselves a little bit is like a film studio.
Yeah.
You know, we develop the ideas, we produce them, we cast the talent, we launch the show, and then you have a marketing ecosystem around it to drive people to that show. Or if we were thinking about it the old way, go drive them to the movie theatre.
Yeah.
So the talent that we're casting are people who were born out of the creator economy generally.
Yeah.
But the creator economy, as it continues to evolve, does not just mean influencers, quote unquote. It can be any talent, because all talent nowadays, even if you're a film star, has a social presence.
I can say there's that blurred line. We always used to know what an influencer was, and then there was an actor, and they were two very different things. Whereas now it's hard to.
You have to have both.
Yes.
Yeah. It's just about the formats you create and the talent that you have in it, because the talent migrate their audience.
Yeah.
And that's always the way it's worked. Even with films, Tom Cruise has Tom Cruise fans.
Yep.
They will go and see every Tom Cruise movie, wherever he is. Yeah. And that's the reason he gets paid the big money, is because he's the draw.
Yeah.
Yes, the stories are great and the franchises are great, but that's the kind of another kind of key premise to what we do, is that the stories you tell have to be great and the entertainment itself has to be unmissable, but it's also about the talent that you have in it, because they are the guys that are going to elevate it.
Yep.
And I think that's kind of one of the key nuggets that was where GloMotion was born from, is if you look at the real success stories recently, you've got Dude Perfect, who are, one of the first YouTube channels, but they've just sold 10% of their business for 100 million. Wow. So their whole business is valued at $1 billion.
Yeah. And
people go to them because of the five guys, are not just because they do trick shots, because people would soon get bored of that, but because they are really engaging people.
Yes. Yeah.
These are what audiences are loving at the moment. I should really say as well, our business is built predominantly on working with brands and creators, but we are also looking to do our own thing as well. So we're looking for investment at the moment to fund our own projects.
Right. So almost you could find upcoming creators, you could create things with them. That would be IP that you would then own.
Exactly.
Right.
But then also, we are looking to work with brands. So when we are talking about the brands we want to work with, we've got quite a clear idea of who it is we're trying to speak to. Yeah. It's then a case of okay, how do we engage them?
But it's learning, isn't it? It's like when we're in the early days, we talk about, it's an evolution. You learn what's working and what's not. We're 4.5 months in, and we're already starting to work out what gets a bit more traction than other stuff. And if we look about the stuff we were doing in month 1, it's already evolved into month 4.
Yeah, yeah, and it's iteration, isn't it?
Yeah,
and I think when it comes to the more automated outreach, I mean, obviously I'm writing all the emails and kind of automating that, but when it is automated and you're doing it to a larger number, you can iterate a little bit quicker, because you can see general trends, can't you? And you can kind of see, okay, that's working a bit better than that one. And so that's interesting, but now I'm becoming a little bit obsessed with iteration and why did that one work and that one didn't? It's like LinkedIn posts, isn't it?
Yeah.
I wrote one the other day that I thought, this is really going to bang. And it didn't. It was one of the worst performing ones. And I was like, I really enjoyed writing that one. Why is no one enjoying it?
Why is no one liking what I'm writing? Yeah.
Although one thing I did notice that I had more comments. It was basically, I said, what if Nike had created Ted Lasso?
Right. Okay.
Which is kind of in line. Well, no, it is completely in line with what we're talking about, like brands creating their own IP. Now, Nike sponsored Ted Lasso in series 2 and 3. All the kit was Nike, everything. Yeah. But then I was chatting to Amar at the DCA last week, and he mentioned something similar, and we were kind of talking about it. And then I really started thinking about it, and I thought, that's a really nice way to position what we're doing and how we're doing it.
Yeah.
Because if Nike had created Ted Lasso, but done it in a way like Apple do with Severance, they essentially could be building their own model for the future, in that they've spent millions and millions of dollars, maybe even billions, on sponsoring teams and players for all these years. But if they built their own team, fictional or not, and were able to scale that from an entertainment point of view, what's stopping them then turning that into a real team like Disney did with the Mighty Ducks in Anaheim? There's possibilities there. You then start to build Nike having its own team, like Red Bull having their own team. it just kind of really started to open up these different ideas. And I got really excited about it. So I wrote this LinkedIn post. I was like, yeah, brilliant. I posted it. I got like 6 likes, which I was kind of like, and look, but the interesting thing was, I didn't know anyone who liked that post, which was a first. And I had the most comments in a post. So I guess in some ways it was effective.
So but you've got more engagement, but less sort of, I don't know, impressions. Or,
the impressions weren't great either. But then also I did post on a Monday. See, this is what I mean. I go mad thinking about it because I'm like, well, I posted on a Monday. Maybe it was different than a Tuesday.
And if you're a statistician, your sample size would be about 12. Yeah. So it's probably all statistically insignificant anyway. And you can't read anything into it, but you can't help it.
Exactly. Yeah. But it's quite fun as well.
Yeah. Right? What is your single-minded proposition or your distinctiveness, do you think, within the market?
The main thing is the fact that we've been in the creator economy since day one in the UK.
It's quite interesting. Nobody has been there longer than you.
No.
There's people that have been there as long, but it's impossible because you were there from the beginning.
Yeah. And when I say we, obviously I mean Dom more than me. Yeah. We've been there since day one and we've seen that evolution and we can see where it's going. So if you drill down what we're doing, we are doing ad-funded programming, but we're not a Channel 4 or an ITV.
Yeah.
We believe we're building ad-funded programming for the future of entertainment. And because we have unparalleled experience in the UK in the creator economy, we feel like we're better placed than anybody else to do that. And then you tie in Simon's experience and expertise. There isn't anyone who can put those two things together like we do. And that's our real unique selling point, because I guess the people we're up against competitively in the market are more traditional production companies, I guess, or those that have come from a TV background and are evolving into digital.
Probably don't know what you know about the creator economy, but they've got the scale at the moment to step into it.
Yeah. I mean, there are other guys out there like After Party have got sort of heritage in the creator space because one of their founders was a creator.
It's rare that you can have a conversation in our industry now without these 2 letters coming up, the A and the I of AI. And we've interviewed a number of people just in the last sort of few days, and it's quite polarizing when you ask people. It depends where they sit, what their agency is. One of them says we're defined by it. Another one says I don't want to go anywhere near it. Where are you on that?
So Dom actually has another venture that he's working on, which is pure AI. Okay. So Dom could sit here and talk about AI till the cows come home.
Yeah.
I use it for writing. If I'm writing a strategy, I always use it to help structure my thinking, because I can often get lost in what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So I very much use AI to help me structure the message and tell that story better.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the more you use it, the more you start to do it yourself. And I do find that I use AI less and less for that now.
Yeah.
But it has been a godsend for me in the first 8 months, because you always have it, don't you? You go through a period where you have loads of proposals all at once, and then you have a time off, then you have loads at once. And so being able to structure strategies for 3 different decks at once.
The similarities are there. Yeah.
So
we wrote a piece on it. It's about AI being your colleague, your coach, and your clerk. So it's your colleague to bounce ideas off. It's your coach to teach you stuff you don't know, and it's a clerk to do the shit you just don't want to do.
Yeah.
And if you do nothing but think of it in those 3 ways, you can kind of think, right, I'm going to learn something now, or I'm going to get it to do this stuff. So it's useful. I find it as a collector of my thoughts.
Yeah.
I'll download my thoughts in it, and to your point, it helps me move them around. It helps me order them, but they're still my thoughts. It's not its thoughts. They're my thoughts, but it helps structure them in a much better way.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. And also, I really enjoy hearing or finding out from other people different AIs that do different things.
Yes. Yeah.
So I use Claude.
Right.
I really like Claude because I think it's a better writer than ChatGPT.
It is meant,
but I still use ChatGPT for certain things. I've just discovered this image thing, so I'm playing around with that a bit. But then someone told me about Perplexity, which is very good for research.
It's a bit more of a, But so, now you've got deep research that's come out in ChatGPT, and now Claude now goes live into the internet. You can't keep up with it. Yeah.
So I didn't know that about Claude.
Yeah. It's now, I think, whatever the new version of Sonnet is, it now goes out into the internet, which was a big thing for ChatGPT, because all of a sudden it's not on data that was uploaded in November or August 24, it now goes out into it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't hallucinate quite as much as it used to do as well.
Yeah.
Which is always a bonus when you start saying stuff that is blatantly untrue.
Yeah. The thing is, I didn't know that happened to begin with. And I remember writing something, and then I read it back and I was like, that doesn't sound true. And I went and checked on it. I was like, that's not. I was annoyed at the AI. I was like, how dare you trick me?
Where did you get that from? So if you can cast your mind forward into 2026, where would you guys love to be? If you could have three things, what are the three things you would have hoped to have achieved in the next year, do you think?
I think I'd like to have the first projects to have been live and to have been as successful as we hope and expect them to be.
Yeah.
I'd like to say that we have at least one client who has doubled down on what we're doing. And then I'd say I'd like to be starting the team as well, starting to build out the team. That'd be great, I think, because that's one of the things that I can say because he's not here. But one thing that Dom did very well at Gleam is he built a phenomenal culture. And I think anybody who ever worked there, I think from the outside it probably looked a little bit cultish,
right?
But when you're in it, it was great. Like it was a real good place to work because everyone felt empowered and autonomous to go and do what they want to do.
Yeah. And
I think that's why so many special things came out of the business was that like people felt that they could go and try something without any kind of fear of reprieve.
Yeah.
And that's what we want to do. Again, we want to not to kind of build Gleam again, not at all, but to build a really good culture of a business. And I know it's kind of a bit buzzy to say that, but you got to like where you work, haven't you?
I think we are lucky if you've ever been at a company that is cultish from the outside, because from the inside, it's exceptional.
Yeah.
And I've been in one of those.
Yeah.
And I know Jo that I work with, she's been within one of those. And it is from the outside, you go, I've been drinking the Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
It's like, yes, lots of it. And I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
But then, as you say, people, they give more, they work harder. There's more fun. The product's better. You have more happy clients.
Yeah.
And to have the aim of having a brilliant culture and set of people that love what they're doing, the rest of it will come, because I spent half my life in pitches.
Yeah.
And I would say clients can smell a team that works well together. They can finish their own sentences, and people want to work with them.
Like you say about people giving more as well. The fact that people like do care more, they talk about it more as well, don't they? And you can see the passion when they talk about their work. Yeah. And I think that again translates to clients when someone is that passionate about where they were. And also when a business becomes almost like it is a brand, I know, but like, Gleam. Like when the influencer world was starting, you'd say the word Gleam and everyone knew what you were talking about. Not so much now, unfortunately, but it was one of those things that, you work at Gleam, oh right, and everyone wanted to work there, kind of thing. That aspirational aspect to it as well.
Absolutely. Firstly, thank you very much for joining us.
It's
been a fascinating conversation. Anyone that comes on here, we give them a little gift when they leave.
Right.
So I'm just going to grab what this gift is. So this is it's a 300 goat.
Right.
But this is for you. It's
great, thank you.
finest nylon.
Yeah, thank you.
So if you maybe if you could hold it up to the camera.
Right, okay.
Before you run off with the T-shirt, there is a reason behind it as well, apart from giving you a lovely T-shirt. Yeah. So we like to ask our guests who their goat is. So who has been your greatest of all time? Sort of a person that has inspired you or looked after you or you've looked up to across your career?
It'd be Tom Pepper. Who I worked with Tom at my first job in media, Vibrant Media. Yeah. So he gave me the job. I came out of uni and I went into an industry I didn't want to work in. I don't know how I ended up in selling cables in an electrical wholesale business on a graduate scheme, I'll add. And I quickly realised that's not for me. I got introduced to the media world. My first interview was with Peps and Hannah Buchanan, who's also at the Mail. And they took a chance on me. I didn't have any media experience, but they kind of brought me in. And then it was Tom, but it was also like the team around Tom. Like our whole team at Vibrant was great. We're all still friends now, like real close friends.
That says a lot, however many years on. Yeah.
And I learned everything about the industry and how you sell in this industry,
Yeah.
etc. From that. And I think we had a great sales team at Vibrant, and I think Pep's obviously at the head of that, and Matt Boak as well, leading the team. And I think, just the culture we created there. So I guess I've had two places where I've had great culture. So I'd say, Pep's and the team at Vibrant.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much.
No, thank you.
And thank you to all of our listeners and viewers, and tune in next time for 300 Seconds on Agency Growth.